Welcome back once again to our reading exercise. Today, identifying and storing fossils from the complete guide to fossils and fossil collecting. After spending hours in the field collecting fossils and the workroom cleaning them, what next? Most collectors like to make a display to show off their prized specimen, but there's some forethought and preparation to do first, such as setting the fossil in context. Fossils can be admired for their simple shapes, color and beauty, but this is like admiring a painting without the insight and knowledge of the painter. Which period it dates from, the circumstances of the subject or scene, and how the work fits into the history of art. Likewise, identifying fossils and finding out which organism left them, when and how and where adds vastly to the interest and pleasure of owning and displaying them. Identification. There are many ways to pin down the identity of a fossil. For some people, a simple label such as ammonite may suffice. But there are thousands of kind of ammonites known from fossils, so it's worth delving more deeply into the science of taxonomy and system of classifying living things. The traditional system starts with large groups, phyla, which are subdivided in turn into classes, or orders, families, genus, species, as will be explained later. A name in the hierarchy level of family or genus is usually sufficient for most amateur collectors, depending upon the specimen's state of preservation and rarity. Identification is carried out by noting specific features, characteristics, or traits in the specimen, as listed in classification keys, as well as by overall visual appearance. Coupled with the age of rocks and their general nature, such as sandstone, limestone, which indicates the original habitat of the organism. Helpful aids to identification. Pictures and notes in the later pages in this book. Similar pictures and lists of key features and fossil guides and identification books. The same materials from internet sites, which are a fast-growing resource for paleontologists. Expert help and advice from knowledgeable people. Similar specimen in other collections such as in museums or paleontological societies. Labels, notes and indexing. Each fossil in a collection should be given a brief identification name and a unique code or log number. This keys into an index for the collection, which can be kept as a card in a box, in a loosely folder or computer disk. Information from the field notebook is transcribed onto a list for each specimen along the lines of Unicode, index or log number. Name, for example, to family, genus or even species level. Approximate date of preservation from period or era of geological time, such as Carboniferous or Eocene, to much narrower, shorter units such as ages or zone of time. This is linked to the type of rock in which the fossil was preserved, known as the lithological limit. Location and date of find with map reference if possible. Nature of matrix and features of surrounding rock. Special notes about site, methods used for extraction of cleaning glues and preservatives and similar data. General information such as notes on paleoecology, behavior or lifestyle, active carnivore in shallows, Silurian seas or similar. Tie the fossils to its information include a short label and storage compartment, or write in the code in indelible ink on it, an important part of the fossil. Take fossils from their storage places one at a time to avoid mixing and misplacing. Storage. Fossils that are not for display are best stored in rigid containers such as sets of drawers or compartment, which are dry and dark. Moisture and bright light can degrade several kind of minerals. Purpose-made cupboards or chest of drawers, often with classic shallow trays such as used in museums, can be picked up at auctions. Sales or house clearances, or sets of wooden plastic storage cases can be pressed into use. Open shelves are less useful since dust accumulates and gradually dulls and obscures a fossil's detailed surface feature. Remember that fossils are stone and are so heavy, any storage system should be able to cope with the weight. The drawers, compartment or boxes should be clearly labeled with their contents and arranged in some sort of logical order. For example, by time period or major group of living things. below. Soft padding protects the fossil from scratches, cracks if the container is jolted. Do, however, avoid cotton wool or similar materials where fibers are likely to dislodge and cling to the specimen. So that was all for today from the chapter Identifying and Storing Fossils. There you go. Take care. All the best.